So in the last video I talked about signals. So in this video uh, we were like previously we were showing just one component and refreshing it. um, yeah, we were showing only one user and refreshing it, and then it was changing to like different random users, but we don't want that. We want like a table of different users that we want to add. So for that I just cleaned my users component TypeScript file, and I added this uh, input decorator or a component. Okay, I added this to a is in decorators. I studied that we can add a decorator to a property as well, so I have added this avatar property, and then I have added my input component to it. And then coming to my app component TypeScript file, I have like imported my dummy users data here. I deleted my dummy users data from this users component because we don't want that to use that there, and imported dummy users here in my app component file. And inside it I have like used this, like I have added this constant users, which is signaling to dummy users, which is storing the dummy users data, so that we can call it in my app component HTML file. Here I have like added this four components in the in the unordered list. So here is like I am calling the users data. So user 0 dot avatar. So this is how I will call um, different users from my app component file. This is just one method. There is one more method that I'll be telling you later. Okay, so this is now done. Now coming to our users component TypeScript file, we can see there is still this error coming. So for that, what we have to do? So like I have added few things here. Here in the avatar property, I have like added this exclamatory mark, so that if I remove this, we will get an error. Like avatar has no initializer and is not definitely assigned in the constructor. So to remove that error, we just use this exclamatory mark so that the TypeScript understand that we are not initializing it, but we will be definitely using this. And then we just define a type here, that is a string type, because if we don't define a type, then it will assume that it is of any type. And similarly I have added this input property, like input component on the name property. And similarly I've added string and exclamatory mark here. And then I have like added my getter. To get the image path, I have to initialize it, and then return same thing like assets users from the image from the users, and then reading the value from the avatar. Okay, and after that what we can do is we have to remove this selected user as well, because we are not using that, and no, we are not using signals as well. Similarly we have to remove this brackets here. Okay, we will not remove the brackets from here because it is a binding. Okay, now coming to our app component, we have to add like the user names as well. So that's how we will add it. One, oh sorry, two, and last here as well. Three. So here I am calling the name property, and inside it I am calling my users with the second index value. and then again I'm calling the name property. So this is how I'm initializing it. And now when we run this, I think it's not running. npm start. We can see our 4 users are displayed here. So our task until here is completed. Now coming to the next thing in the module. So what we are doing here is like we are using this exclamatory mark to tell the TypeScript that we will definitely like store a string value inside our property. But suppose in my app component HTML file, if I remove this name, okay, and then look at our website, we can see uh, the website is loading, but we can see that the name is not coming, although the image is coming, but the name is not coming. So we don't want to have like these types of error. So for that, what we can do is we can like give our decorators a type, a property that is inputted inside it, that is this required thing, and then set that to true. I think, yeah. And similarly, this required true. So before adding this required thing, we were basically fooling like TypeScript, like we are showing that we will add something, but on the HTML file we were not adding, so we were fooling TypeScript. But this required, after adding this required to true thing, we can see in our HTML file, where is it, yeah, we can see it is giving us error. Okay, so it is showing us error before like running our file. So this is an important property, like to add inside our decorator or the component. So like we can see that the error is coming here, and then if I add back the thing, we can see the error is gone now. So this is how this thing is important. uh, there are other options as well, but we will see about them later in the course. Another way to add input is like using signals. Like I have added this smaller case input, which is different from this input, which is a decorator. This is like we can call it for using a signal, okay. And then computed is another thing that we talked about earlier, so that it will in signal it will only compute that particular value only, not the whole class. So suppose I have to add like now image path. Yeah, this thing assets using this avatar is here, and now we just have to call this avatar because we are using it in signals, and we have to make a few changes in our HTML file. We are calling the image path, also the name also we are calling now, as we are using signals, so we have to do that change. And one more thing that is interesting is that we don't have to change anything on our app.component HTML file. We can use the same syntax and call our components. So this is something new. And then Yeah, so this is how we can like get the input value using the signals. Also here I'm using this inside the arrow keys a type that I have defined. This is the input type, sorry, this is the generic type that I discussed in the TypeScript. Like we can assign this type so that we can know what we can assign the type as we want. So like, and this required thing is also there, so this is equivalent to this required true thing. So this is the syntax that we have to use in signals. So I'll just remove the signal things from here and from here as well. Yeah, what is the error now? Image bar does not exist. Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to uncomment this and this as well. Now I guess it will work. Yeah, it is working. Hmm. So I just removed the signal parts and I am back to my decorator type only, and you can see it is working as well. Now whenever I click a user, I want to see a task here as well, so we have to make that component now. So for that we have to like output some data when we click on a particular user. So for that we will be using this output component, and then here I'm calling that output component and select this is my property. And instead of doing this, we are assigning a value to our select property, that is new event emitter. And then instead of this void type, just remove this. And then event emitter is also a known component in Angular. So this is how we will do this. So this, what does this event emitter do? So it just emit custom events and register handlers for those events by subscribing to an instance. So using this like emit keyword, we will define that what data we want to emit. Okay. And also in on this on select user, on clicking this, what we will do is like this select dot this emit, and we suppose we have to emit this id. What is the id? Okay, so we want to emit this id, and for that also we have to input required true users. No, I know not. I'll just copy this, paste this. Instead of avatar, I will write id, and now I think it'll work. And uh, now coming to the next thing, that is coming to our app component HTML file. Before that we have to go to this file, and then here as well we have to call like our on select user, like our event listener here also, so that we can use it in our app component HTML file. Okay, and select user. give this id as an input here, and then we should define the type of the id. That should be a string. If we don't define it, then we will get an error like this, like type is not defined. I think array declare it is of any type. Okay, so for that we have to define it, and then console log. We don't want to console log id, we want to console log a message selected user with id plus id. Okay, so we want to console log this thing. And now coming to our html file, what so this is giving us an error like required id component, because we defined an id component and we are not using it here. So for that, what we will do is, before this avatar, we will just define our id component, and then users 0 dot id, sorry, dot id. So this is how we will call it. And similarly here it will come 3. Okay, so we have initialized it, and suppose you want to read a message like tasks are uploaded here. Okay, something like that. Okay, for example. Okay, and also other than that, we have to call this thing. What is that? Or select property, which is the event which stores the emit this id our id value, and it will emit it. So to call that, what we will do is we will call it as an event binding, like this select, and then inside it on selected user, and then we have to use this event. Okay, we have to call this event thing, so that it will make sure that it is called like an event listener when it is clicked. Okay, so we have to like copy this and store it in each component, each step of the component, if I am right. Yeah, so I think we are not getting any errors now. And then when we will look at tasks are uploaded here, then we inspect console, selected users with id 1, selected user with id 2, 3 similarly. Okay, so we are getting we are getting the output that we want after clicking. So this thing is completed now. Coming now, I will go to the next part. So firstly I have to like um, add a new component, that is task, and then inside that uh, when I click every user, I have to output its name. Okay, so I have to do that. So this is my task. So what will I do is, firstly I will use this command that I used earlier, ng gc task dash dash skips test. Okay, and after that we can see our task component is created. Okay, we will give output h2 here, and then here in the export class task component we will just add a input decorator and then call it, and use this syntax only that we used earlier to define then this name with the exclamatory sign, which should be a string. We should take an input as a string, and then coming to our which file, this app component file. TypeScript file. Okay, now I have just commented out this, and instead of this what I am doing is this dot selected user ID equals to ID. Okay, selected user ID does not exist, and also we have not imported the task component here, so I think it will give us, it is not giving. Okay, so we will add a task component manually. So yeah, we can see it is added now. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So we can see our task component is added now. Now what we have to do is, inside this app component we have to selected user ID. We have to define this thing, which should be suppose u1. Okay. Also we have to add a getter as well. Get to, why are we adding a getter? To add a dynamic value, because we want to add dynamic data, not fixed data. Selected users, return this users find user. This is the arrow function, user ID equals to this, not selected user ID. Yeah, I think it is okay. Selected does not exist in okay, it is added now. And now coming to the HTML file. Okay, what are we doing here now? We are just calling our app tasks stuff all. Yeah, app tasks. Okay, inside it we are calling the property binding, and then name, property binding name, and then inside it selected user. I selected user, we have to Suppose you have to output the username, select your user.name, and we can see that it is giving us an error, objective possibly undefined. And why is that? Because if we add a question mark here, okay, we will talk about this question mark later in the course. To fix this error, we just have to like give an exclamatory mark here, and now I think everything is fixed. Okay, why are we giving the exclamatory mark here? Because mm, whenever we are clicking like this getter function, getter property, we are using this get selected user, it should not be an empty value. So to check for that, we are like giving this exclamatory sign, and then now we are not getting any error. So when we look at our thing and refresh it, what we can see is it is not outputting. Wait a second. Yeah, so suppose I click David Miller, so I can see the name David Miller is coming as the output here. So like this is how we can use the like components like a task component is added, and I like used it value, use the use the already defined users value to store it in a dynamic way, uh, and then print it here as the name. Okay, and then take the input as well of the name. So this is how we can do this. So now I will talk about the other things in the next video. Thank you, sir. So I will try to complete this module uh, tomorrow and then start with the next module. It was a very big module. It was a 4.5 hour module, and then I will try to finish the next 3 modules in the coming 2 days, and then the sixth and seventh modules in the next 3 days. After that, I will need some time to practice and complete all these modules. So I think until 10th July, I guess I will, 10th August, I guess I will be completing this. But yeah, let's see. I'll be like making my pace more fast, and I'll try to gasp as much as I can.